Welcome, everyone, to Talents Unlimited Toastmasters podcast. Today is the 6th of September. We here at Talents Unlimited Toastmasters meet every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we have conversation on all sorts of topics and presentations as well. Tonight, we don't have any guests, so we're going to get right into our conversation this evening. But before we even begin, how is everybody doing? How's Florida, Jim?
Florida is awesome.
Awesome. All right. Flora, how is you look bright and peppy today? How are you doing?
I'm sweating.
That's not supposed to be until tomorrow when we start getting that 100-degree weather, right?
It feels like 100 already.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Carolyn, how are you this evening? Madam President.
I'm great.
All right. All
Fine.
right.
Laura looks like she's losing weight.
Is it that carnivore diet from our last podcast? Just kidding.
Actually, I was gonna talk about diets and programs to go along with your diet and what you talked about last week, but I decided against that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I didn't want to get into the controversy of diet programs versus, what we can do for our health.
Mhm.
So I thought I would talk on another subject that is beneficial.
Well, it's a
You should
wide
have
open-
went in. You should have went into the controversy. Controversy draws people in. You know that, right?
Another time, Jim. I know you would have loved it, but I respect the fact that Robert gave us a really good podcast, and I want to be able to, when I do controversy on that program, what Robert shared with us, I have facts, and I want to be able to show facts and give facts. And I didn't have my information together, so I decided on another speech.
Oh, it sounds like we have a debate showing up here.
There we go.
That's an awesome thing for a future
Annie,
future
welcome.
podcast.
Welcome. Your first background, I was a little concerned because they look like cookies.
I saw that background.
Yeah.
That's a better controversy.
Tell him why you had that background.
This morning's meeting, the theme was ginger snaps.
And I love ginger cookies. I love ginger. Oh, it's one of my favorite. Is that considered a spice?
Ginger
Yes.
is a spice. Yes.
It was a spice.
Okay. Yeah, I love ginger.
It was a very good topic. Flora had table topics, so
All right. All right. Yeah. Well, I'm going to find out more about ginger because I know there's a lot of great things that ginger does to the body. So,
ginger provides niacin. Niacin is very important to the body.
oh,
That's-
yes.
I
Oh,
remember
yes.
morning. So
Well,
how's
Annie, welcome. Welcome. It's nice to see you again.
thank you. I promise to come when I can. So I
Okay.
can.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, Talents Unlimited. Like I said, we meet every Wednesday at 7 p.m. and we have a presentation today, a speech, and it's going to be with Miss Flora Turner. I'm sure Flora has some great information for us or observations. So let me tell you a little bit about Flora. Flora has been a distinguished Toastmaster in 2019 to 2020. She was a district director and a district leadership chair in 2020, 2021. Flora is a wife, a mother of 13, daughter, sister, aunt, cousin, friend of many, and a retired nurse. She has been a charter member of Y Talkers Toastmasters Club in Lancaster since 2011, where she served as the inaugural club president. She is a member of 4 Toastmasters clubs in Division A, Wide Talkers, Citywide, Word Wizard, Eye Opener, and Talents Unlimited. She is also a member of the District 100 Club 407, a club of past and present international and district leaders. Flora has held all club officer roles and district officer positions and received many club area, division, and district awards. Additionally, she has served in many community and voluntary leadership positions. She is a leader of influence, and that is her vision. Fellow Toastmasters and audience, I'd like to introduce our presenter for the evening, Flora Turner.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. Today, I want to talk to you about the Proverb 31 woman. Well, some know about the Proverb 31 woman and some don't. I'm here to share tonight with you about that lady. Well, the Proverb 31 woman is referred to in biblical scriptures of the book of Proverbs, and it is the 31st verse, all of 31st chapter, okay, 1 through whatever verse it is, okay? And I want you to I just want you to hear who this woman was, what she did, and some things she put out there that we do right today that we could relate to. Well, I want to explain to you that the Proverb 31 woman is a metaphor, okay? A metaphor that a mother was talking to her son about. And she was sharing with her son how a woman has strength, how she is a woman of virtue. And I'm not talking about one particular woman. I'm talking about all women. And when I say all women, I'm going gender across, okay? Because what this story tells us, it says it's woman in the story, but we know that women don't rule the world yet. And women, we made up of 2 genders or many genders. So I'm going across the board. I'm not just talking about women per se, but yes, it all, relates. This woman, this proverb woman, she was of strength and of virtue. She was of integrity. She was a hard worker. She cared for everyone. Anybody she could help, she cared for them. That was her duty. She was hardworking. She was disciplined. She cared for her family. She cared for people who needed her. She took on responsibilities, but you know what she did? She strived for the best in everything she did. She didn't have to do things. She did things the way they needed to be done. In doing things the way they needed to be done, she took care of her family. Okay. When you take care of a family, you have many responsibilities. The responsibilities don't lay with you just going out getting a job and bringing in the paycheck. There's so many responsibilities. When we say we care for our families, when we say we're caring for our families, we shop, we buy clothes, we cook, we iron clothes, we get kids ready for school. I mean, we do multiple things. And you know what they call us? They call us housewives. Some call us CEOs. Some call us CFOs. Some call us domestic engineers. but overall, we're the woman of strength and virtue in the home. Now, some men are the strength and the virtue in their homes. I buy that. I'm not denying. The fulfillment of the responsibilities are for those who are set up to do the responsibilities. And I want to relate being a virtuous woman to the same virtuous proverb woman that we are as Toastmasters, okay? As Toastmasters, we strive to do our best. We strive to keep our households in order, meaning our clubs. We do all the maintenance and the cleaning and the setting up, all of that. So all of those duties that we do as the proverb woman and the proverb man, I can say. And it was somewhere in the Bible that we looked up and says, why did they use the word wisdom to be her and a woman? Why was the Proverb 31 only a woman? Well, they talked about it as a metaphor, but it doesn't mean that it's not for men. We take responsibility in those duties that we share. Toastmasters, when you're the area director, you do your jobs. You do you take on your responsibilities. You show your club members and the people who you're with the spirit of excellence, the spirit of respect and integrity, service and excellence. We do it in our homes. The Proverb 31 woman showed it many times that she had all these attributes that was going on in her life. She was a marketer. She was a real estate agent. She took care of her home. There was a place, one of the verses, which was verse 10, called her to be a good, supportive, trusting wife, which was a blessing to her husband or her man in all ways. In Toastmasters, I like to relate that when we're put in a position of respect, okay, we decide that that's where we are. I can't burn my integrity. No matter what it is, I cannot burn my integrity, all right? I can't burn my integrity at my home. I can't burn my integrity in the stores or in Toastmasters or anywhere else. As a proverb woman, and maybe as a proverb man, we share many of these responsibilities, duties, and wisdom. We're continuously learning it. We're continuously putting it forth. What is Toastmasters teaching us? These competencies. They're teaching us how to go do the IA, and artificial intelligence, AI, the artificial intelligence. I mean, they're teaching us so many different things. Well, maybe the Proverb 31 was learning this kind of stuff too, but this is only a metaphor. But I want to put it out there. As a Proverb 31 woman, I'm going to be a Proverb 31 no matter where I am, whether I'm in the home, whether I'm in the Toastmasters group, I'm in the public or at a convention. I want you all to decide to check out what the Proverb 31 woman was, or what the metaphor was really all about. I'm sure you will enjoy it. But one of the things I want to throw out there, do you have any questions about the Proverb 31 woman that I didn't bring up that maybe we could join Toastmasters with? Any questions?
Well,
Any comments?
I have comments.
Or any additions to the story that I told?
Sure. So I have a few comments. You're sitting there talking about the integrity, right? So I can't burn this integrity, I can't burn that integrity. It's important to realize that everybody, every single person in the world has principles that they live by.
Right.
And if they live by these principles, it's the way that sets up the judgment and the wisdom that they're going to be using to make decisions inside their head. And assuming that they stick to their principles, then they're always going to be true to themselves. And the moment they give up on that principle, the moment they break that integrity, they're no longer the same person they were. Everything changes because now that person has an internal conflict amongst themselves and they have to sit there and decide. So I'm glad that you brought it up. I think it's something that people in the world don't know and don't understand what it really means, even though they're exercising it. Whether they exercise it well or not is a different story, but
Right.
it's there. It exists.
It exists.
And I have to tell you, when you first started talking about this woman, the first thing that popped into my mind was Helen Reddy. Oh yeah, Helen Reddy. I am strong. I am invincible. I am woman.
Hey, I found a paper that I had my children write up. And it reminded me, the reason why I told that story, it reminded me of how I trained them and tried to teach them these very skills that we're learning even right now in Toastmasters. I wrote out a list of things that the person in the household or the mother of the household do, okay? Now this list consists of one page, yes, but his job was to write, what you call these things when they have to write what they have to remember?
Standards.
Standards, okay? He had to write standards. So I found these standards, and the standards was all about cleaning the house, helping to the parent or the head of the household to service them. Okay, we have to service them. We have to protect them. We have to provide for them. Okay, so what I'm saying, all of this integrity and this excellence and respect, and all this stuff, it all fits in no matter where we at. It even fits in on the job, huh, Robert? I knew he was ready.
Absolutely. Integrity is your
Best-
brand, if you will. It's your brand, if you will. And if you lack integrity, that is also your brand. It's not something that you want to have, but it is your brand. And your standards list, I remember my father, he was in the Navy. And when we were young, he used to bounce that nickel or quarter on our bed to make sure that thing was stretched out real tight. But more so, you talk about integrity, that integrity, protector, marketing, all of it. With 6 children, my father during the Vietnam era, he was gone for many, many months, half a year, sometimes. And being the oldest, you kind of assume that same integrity when your father was gone. And of course, my mom was always in charge, right? Either that or she, hit us with what they call a chancla in the Hispanic community. But just funny. But we carried that through our life till today, being my age now and being third or fourth grade, you carry that through life, and it has lived with me even to this day, where in all honesty, it's what keeps me young, because it keeps me busy as you are. It just keeps you busy, and you keep that level of integrity and standards.
Level
Right.
of it.
Okay, Annie. You want to share?
Well, I was thinking, I didn't think about it when I grabbed this background, but it is exactly what Toastmasters is teaching. And as Robert was speaking, I was thinking that, I do feel sorry for people that grow up with no integrity, with parents that don't demonstrate. And basically, that's what the proverb woman did. She demonstrated integrity for those that she encountered, not just her children, but also the people she worked with, her servants. It said she leaves out for her servants even. She was a real estate agent. So that meant she was going out. She was working with people. She was getting up early in the morning. She was setting the bar. She was setting the bar. And those that around her had to step up to the bar. They had to step up to the plate. She had a husband who was a man of integrity, and she was a reflection of him, and he was a reflection of her. So, but I do feel sorry for young people who grow up with no integrity, no examples. I think, and I might be getting too far off the subject, I hope not, but as a foster parent, I had a lot of children that came through my house. And my daughter I have a residence behind my house. My daughter lived in the back. And one of my kids said to me, "Where does Tanisha go every day? She gets up and she leaves home every morning, doesn't come home till evening." Because this child, and trust me, they had a big family, but this child did not see people going to work. This was the kind of examples that were being set for this child. And she had to know, where does Tanisha go every day? What is work? This is how people earn a living. They just don't sit and wait for the government to give it to them. They don't wait for a county check and wealth and food stamps. And I just thought about that. The proverb woman, she raised the bar for those that are around her. And that's just the thought that I had. Thank you, Flora, for that. I certainly enjoyed hearing her. I mean, I've read Proverb 31 many times. We read the Proverbs. We read the Proverbs every month. We go through the Proverbs. When I ride my children to school in the car, we do a proverb every morning. We don't always get to do 31 because there's not always 31 days in a month. We do whatever the day is of the month. That's the proverb that we do, and so I get to hear that all the time. But you raised the bar for me, and you took it to another level. You took it to Toastmasters too. So I
did to Toastmasters.
Okay,
that's where we are now. We're in Toastmasters now, and I've been at the level of raising the bar in Toastmasters. But I want to go a little further, into, even our personal lives. And I think that even all of us in our personal lives that are part of Toastmasters really do take Toastmasters to the next level. I don't think we are shady people at all. But if you haven't read Proverbs 31, do me a favor, read about the virtuous woman.
No,
Thank you.
I'm not a really religious person, so I don't know if I have the ideas correctly. So I was brought up Catholic, so I'm trying to think back 40 years ago. So if I remember correctly, the Proverbs 31 woman was doing everything in celebration of God. Right, so she found God in everything that was going on. Mm-hmm. And she did it in service to God. Mm-hmm. When I sit here and I think about that, then if I want to take that idea and I want to apply it to Toastmasters, then the idea is if you're in an officer's position or if you're in Toastmasters and you're doing something, you're in a position of service.
That's right.
It's not about you.
That's right.
It's about what you can do to make someone else better.
Right.
And I think that's one of the big thought processes that are lost on a lot of Toastmasters today when they first get in. Because when they first get in, all they think about is, oh, I have to learn this, I have to learn this, and not thinking in terms of what it means in the beginning. So when someone gets their DTM, that's when Toastmasters really starts.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't think people understand that. Maybe
But
that's a lesson we need to put out there.
But you know, Jim, just like I showed you that I had my kid writing standards, I went on the computer and I even looked up some information for them to share with them what responsibilities, that I had. Then I had to have them write standards. Well, in Toastmasters, we don't write standards. We go and we learn from our pathways. But Jim, in our house, yes, this virtuous woman did do everything as unto God. Do you think that I can multitask and do all the things in my home and take care of children the way I take care of them if I didn't depend on God? I do everything that I do when I depend on God. Many others do, okay? Many others don't. I understand. They go with the head knowledge. They go with the Toastmasters rules, but then the Toastmasters rules, where did they come from? Okay. They still are all based on this integrity thing. We don't have to even get into the God thing or into the ministry or the Bible. We could go to Toastmasters and get into the integrity and the service in Toastmasters alone.
Sure, it's yeah. From my point of view, once you become an officer, it's all about service. Yeah, in terms in terms of integrity, I was growing up. My papa, rest his soul, when he taught me about work, he said, "I don't care what job you have. You could be cleaning toilets for the rest of your life, but when you do it so well that you're willing to sign your name on it and say, I did this."
That's right.
And if you work like that, no matter what you do, you will always come out ahead.
That's right. My parents taught us that as well. But again, this virtuous woman in Proverbs 31, this happened so many years ago. It happened so many before our mothers, our parents, and any others. But all I want to share with all of us is the things that we're learning in Toastmasters are things that's already been put out there for us, that we already use. We already demonstrated in our households. We demonstrated in our businesses. We demonstrated in Toastmasters. This virtuous woman was a woman of strength. You hear me? Strength.
I am strong. I am invincible.
I'll turn the meeting back over to our host.
Just to make a last remark, and this goes with everything, and Jim mentioned DTM as well. The biggest reward for me is not what I accomplish, it's those that I mentor or teach.
Right.
And to watch and specifically this is about Little League as an example. When I coached Little League, it was when those eyes opened up wide because they had that sense of accomplishment. You celebrated with them, and having that pleasure of celebrating with them was my greatest gratification. And I think that, as Jim mentioned, a DTM, if it's just starting, that gratification and celebration should be when a fellow Toastmasters attains that certain level of competency and confidence. So that's just my last remark about how I celebrate based on Jim and, watching others do well. That's my biggest reward. So Flora, thank you so much. This was enlightening. It was a positive presentation and great conversation. So we're going to go to the next part of this podcast, and we're going to go into evaluations. And our evaluator for Flora's presentation and the meeting is Jim Kearney. Jim.
Yes, sir. Flora turned off her video. Oh my goodness. Her daughter, that must have been her daughter going back. There she is. Is that your daughter back there? Hi. How are you? It's awesome seeing your family, Flora. I love seeing your family. All right, so Flora, let me tell you what I think about your speech, because you came out there strong, and you wanted to talk about the proverb woman. You went through all the different pieces that were there. I like the way that you were set right in the frame of the video. I like the way that you used your hand gestures because it emphasized different things that were going on while you were talking. I loved your voice inflections to emphasize the important parts. But there are a couple of things I'd like to let you to think about. For instance, you can see that I'm going like this, right? Back and forth like this. And if I wanted to emphasize something really quick, then I can come in really close. But if you're not emphasizing, then the coming in and the going back and the coming in is kind of distracting. So it might help to just stay where you were when you first started instead of leaning back and forth. Overall, I truly enjoyed the speech, and I enjoyed the idea of the proverb woman. And it brought us back into what a podcast is supposed to be like. I really enjoyed it because it ended up opening up an entire conversation. And this meeting went so well with the conversation. The information flowed, people got involved, and everything was going back and forth. And I thought that was excellent. That is a podcast. That is the way that we would like to have it done. So awesome job on you, Flora. I truly appreciate what you did. And I'm definitely going to look forward to your next speech. Overall, I'm glad that the meeting happened. I truly am happy that we've got this format going on. I see that we're working it, and we're massaging some of the different things that are happening with it. I'm glad that Annie came back. Hi, Annie. I miss you so much. One of these days, I swear to God, I'm gonna try to come back out there to California just so I can see you. I thought the meeting, it was good. Robert, thank you for the hosting and keeping the meeting flowing, where we only have 40 minutes that we're working for each of these podcasts. So it's nice to have seen the time reminders to say, hey, we only got this much time left. So good job on that. Carolyn. Oh, I didn't hardly hear anything from Carolyn. I would have loved to have Carolyn get involved with this stuff about the proverb woman. Unfortunately, I didn't hear much. Carolyn, what do you have to say?
Well, what I want to say is that the Proverbs woman was a woman of excellence. She believed in doing things the right way and with integrity, and she took responsibility, because that's what we need today. Responsibility for your actions, responsibility for the things that you have to do during the day. So the Proverbs woman did all of this. She woke up early, and that's one thing that I'm reading about people that get things done. They wake up early. They don't sleep late. They get up and get the moving. And what I have discovered about myself, when you wake up early, especially if you got enough sleep, you're full of energy and you can get out there and do whatever you need to do. And another thing I think the Proverbs woman did, and I don't know, it wasn't specifically mentioned, but I'm sure she made a plan for her day. She didn't get up willy-nilly and, what am I going to do today? What's on my list? She had a plan. She had a list. She got up and executed her plan. And that's what we do in Toastmasters. That's why we have the success plan. We make a plan and we follow our plan. We go by the plan that we have. So in Toastmasters, we strive for excellence because when we do the speech contest, we want to win. So we practice and practice until we become, we think, excellent as good as we can at that speech. So Flora, this was a good topic. I loved it. And I'm always striving to be a Proverbs 31 woman.
Awesome. Thank you, Carol. I'm gonna start calling you at 4 o'clock in the morning. Make sure you're up. Make sure you're awake.
You'd be
Jim, I get up at 4:30.
I
5
like,
o'clock, 5 o'clock is the latest I can sleep.
uh-huh. Well, yeah, but I'm talking about 4 o'clock in the morning. 4 o'clock in the 4 o'clock in the morning, my time is 2 o'clock in the morning, your time.
Okay. You call me at 4 o'clock my time.
Yeah.
4 o'clock your time, half my day is gone. I did like Carolyn's remark though, right? So we turn around and we plan our work, then we work our plan. So I thought that was really, really awesome. All right, Robert, I kick it back to you, sir.
Thank you, thank you. And just for our audience, when you view this podcast, we are Talents Unlimited Toastmasters. We meet every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Look us up on Google at Talents Unlimited Toastmasters. Talents Unlimited Toastmasters. You will find our website, and you will find perhaps our Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. What is that other one? Instagram. We're on all of the public social media venues. That's Talents Unlimited Toastmasters. Look us up on Google. We're here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. I want to thank our speaker, our presenter for this evening. Great discussion with our group this evening. I'd like to turn this back over to our presiding officer, Madam President Carolyn Moore.
Thank you, Robert, for that great hosting job. Do we have any other business that we need to attend to today?
So if we're gonna go in the club business, let me stop recording.
Recording
Okay.
off? Yes.